Oh my God.
Oh, dude, you're like a real superhero, man!
Oh my God.
Hello, WWE wrestling fans. Welcome to In the Ring with me, WWE Fan Alex Cardinale. I have a special episode of In the Ring coming your way tonight. Can you guys believe the biggest party of the summer is taking place next Saturday? Next Saturday is this year's edition of SummerSlam. And this year's edition of SummerSlam is taking place at Ford Field in Detroit. The very first WWE event in Detroit since WrestleMania of 2020 or WrestleMania 2007. So WrestleMania 23 was the last event to take place at Detroit. So this year's SummerSlam is going to be taking place there. Anyway, to get us ready for SummerSlam next Saturday, tonight I am going to talk about 10 of my favorite SummerSlam matches. A couple of the matches that I'm going to talk about tonight are tag team matches, and they are really good classic tag team matches featuring D-Generation X. And there's a lot of Hall of Famers that I'm going to talk about tonight, including Edge, Undertaker, Shawn Michaels, and Triple H, to name a few. So this is going to be a really fun show. I'm going to talk about how the rivalry started heading into that year's SummerSlam. I'll go over the match a little bit, and then I'll talk about what I like about the match. Shout out to the live viewer who says, let's go. Thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you enjoy our awesome video today. So as always, you can be part of the show by posting some of your favorite SummerSlam matches in the comments. What are some of your favorite SummerSlam matches? So without further ado, let's go ahead and get this show started. And these matches are in no particular order. One's not better than the other. I enjoyed all these matches at SummerSlam over the years. So the first match I'm going to talk about took place at SummerSlam 2002, and it was the in-ring return of Shawn Michaels. Shawn Michaels had been out with a back injury for 4 years prior to returning to the WWE, and Shawn Michaels' first return match was at SummerSlam 2002 against Triple H. So my first favorite match is Shawn Michaels versus Triple H, SummerSlam 2002. And let's learn how this rivalry came to be. So at Vengeance 2002, Shawn Michaels returned after being out of the WWE due to a back injury for 4 years. Triple H was given the choice of deciding which brand he would appear for, Raw or SmackDown, and Michaels helped him decide by offering to reform D-Generation X, DX, on the Raw brand. Triple H chose to go to the Raw brand, but on the July 22nd episode of Raw, as Shawn Michaels and Triple H were in the middle of reforming DX, Triple H turned on Shawn Michaels by nailing him with a pedigree. A week later, on the July 29th episode of Raw, Shawn Michaels was found in the parking lot laying motionless following an ambush. He was also bleeding from the head due to someone putting his head through a car window. On the August 5th episode of Raw, a security camera revealed to be Triple H had attacked Shawn Michaels from behind. Triple H told Shawn Michaels that he did it to prove a point that Shawn Michaels was weak. HBK then challenged Triple H to a match at SummerSlam. And on the August 19th episode of Raw, General Manager Eric Bischoff announced an unsanctioned street fight between Triple H and Shawn Michaels for SummerSlam. And later that night, Shawn Michaels interfered in Triple H's non-title match with The Rock and assaulted Triple H. At the beginning of the show, Brock Lesnar brought a front row seat ticket to watch the main event between The Rock and Triple H. But even when Lesnar tried to interfere on Triple H's behalf, Shawn Michaels delivered a sweet chin music to Brock Lesnar. So that led to Triple H versus Shawn Michaels at SummerSlam. And Shawn Michaels had his first wrestling match since WrestleMania of 1998 at SummerSlam 2002. So Michaels came out fast using a punch-kick offense to start the match, and he executed a plancha. Triple H executed a series of backbreakers on Shawn Michaels. Shawn Michaels hit Triple H with a ladder. Michaels executed a splash on Triple H from the top rope through a table on the floor and a diving elbow drop off of a ladder. The match came to an end when Shawn Michaels went for sweet chin music. Triple H countered into a pedigree attempt, but Michaels countered into a jackknife roll-up for the win. After the match, Triple H hit Shawn Michaels with a sledgehammer twice, forcing Michaels to be carried away on a stretcher. So this match at SummerSlam 2002 had a great story because it was Shawn Michaels' first match coming back to the WWE after 4 years, but it also solidified Triple H as one of the dirtiest players of the game and one of the greatest heels at that time. So Shawn Michaels did his job of putting his friend Triple H over, and this rivalry continued after that. And I think it's because of SummerSlam 2002 that fans started to care for Shawn Michaels versus Triple H. And their rivalry was pretty long after this. I think it lasted 4 years, up until 2006 when DX were formed. So Shawn and Triple H had one of the better WWE rivalries, and it started at SummerSlam 2002. All right, let's talk about our next favorite match here. And this one is a recent SummerSlam. This is from a SummerSlam 2 years ago when WWE was back in front of crowds after the COVID pandemic. From Las Vegas, it is WWE Hall of Famer Edge against Seth Rollins from SummerSlam 2021. And this is one of Edge's better matches since coming back from his retirement and his neck injury. I really thoroughly enjoyed this match. So how did this match come to be? Well, Edge was granted a Universal Championship match at Money in the Bank 2021. But Seth Rollins took issue with this decision, feeling that he deserved the opportunity. So at Money in the Bank, Seth Rollins cost Edge the championship and the match. And following the match, Edge and Rollins brawled into the crowd. On the following episode of SmackDown, Edge called out Seth Rollins and stated that their issues dated back to December of 2014 when Seth Rollins had attempted to injure Edge's surgically repaired neck and definitively put an end to his career. Rollins then came out and claimed he despised older wrestlers like Edge and John Cena for coming back and taking opportunities from the current wrestlers who earned them. A brawl then ensued. The following week, Rollins attacked Edge during his entrance and declared that if he could not be Universal Champion, then neither could Edge. On the August 6, 2021 episode of SmackDown, Edge challenged Rollins to a match at SummerSlam, which Seth Rollins accepted. Now, what I really liked about the Edge and Seth Rollins feud starting in the summer of 2021 is that it brought back the Brood. And we hadn't seen the Brood entrance in such a long time, and it was because of this feud that Edge reenacted it. So at SummerSlam 2021, Edge reenacted the Brood's entrance, which was a group that Edge was once a member of earlier in his WWE career in 1998 to 1999. And then Edge came out to his regular entrance after that. Seth Rollins began to target the surgically repaired neck of Edge by slamming it into the steel steps. Rollins performed a frog splash on Edge for a near fall. Edge performed a swinging neck breaker from the top rope on Rollins. As Edge went back to the top rope, Rollins performed a superplex and a Falcon Arrow on Edge for a near fall. Edge countered the stomp and a pedigree from Rollins and performed a glam slam for a near fall. As Rollins went for the stomp on the apron, Edge countered and performed a spear on Seth Rollins, sending both of them out on the ring. And that was one of the highlights of the match for me. Rollins countered a spear attempt by Edge into a pedigree for another near fall. Edge performed a corkscrew moonsault and a spear on Rollins for a near fall. In the end, Edge countered the stomp again and locked in an educator and a crossface. Edge rammed Rollins' head into the ring mat several times and locked in a bulldog choke, making Seth Rollins tap out to win the match. And that was an awesome match at SummerSlam 2021. I thoroughly enjoyed it, and I think Edge is a great performer. Now, Edge isn't even featured on this year's SummerSlam card, so I'm starting to wonder if Edge is really going to retire this year. I mean, I'm kind of sad that Edge is retiring, but he came back. He had a great run, and one of the better matches of his run was Edge and Rollins at SummerSlam 2021. Now, Edge and Rollins' feud continued after SummerSlam. They had a match at SmackDown from Madison Square Garden, where Seth Rollins picked up a victory. And then the rubber match was at Crown Jewel 2021 in Saudi Arabia, where Edge defeated Seth Rollins inside a steel cage. All right. Moving along now, let's get to my next favorite SummerSlam match. This is going to be my 8th favorite SummerSlam match. Hopefully there's no tech issues. My Wi-Fi is showing that it's going very slow, so hopefully you guys can hear me and understand the show okay. All right, the next match we're going to talk about takes us back to last year's SummerSlam at Nashville, Tennessee. And this match is a match that a lot of people thought was going to be bad because it features a superstar wrestling his first WWE match against The Miz. The Miz is a great superstar that I would trust to have my first match with. So, of course, I'm talking about Logan Paul versus The Miz from last year's SummerSlam. SummerSlam 2022. All right, and I have to admit that I am actually a fan of Logan Paul. He's new to the business, but he puts a lot of work into his feuds and his promos. So let's learn how Logan Paul versus The Miz came about for SummerSlam 2022. At WrestleMania 38, social media influencer Logan Paul teamed with The Miz in a tag team match in which they were victorious. However, unpleased that Logan Paul scored the pinfall, Miz turned heel and attacked Logan Paul. In June, photos began surfacing of Logan Paul training for an in-ring return, and then on June 30th, it was announced that Logan Paul had officially signed with the WWE. In a short video following the announcement, Logan Paul said he was coming for The Miz. Logan Paul then appeared on the July 18th episode of Monday Night Raw to confront Miz and challenged him to a match at SummerSlam. Miz initially rejected, but after being goaded by Logan Paul, Miz accepted. During the match, Logan Paul applied the figure 4 leg lock on Miz. However, Miz reached the ropes to avoid the submission. Logan Paul performed a crossbody and standing moonsault on Miz for a near fall. Tommaso Ciampa attempted to attack him. Although the referee sent Tommaso Ciampa backstage, Tommaso Ciampa refused to comply and attained a steel chair to sit. AJ Styles then came out and attacked Ciampa from behind. Logan Paul performed arm on The Miz for a near fall, and then Logan Paul did perform the frog splash on The Miz through the announce table. In the end, as Logan Paul attempted a pin on Miz, Maurice distracted the referee. As Miz attempted to attack Paul with a necklace, he almost struck Maurice, who stood up on the ring apron. However, Paul took advantage and performed a skull-crushing finale on Miz in the ring to secure his very first singles victory. So last year at SummerSlam 2022, Logan Paul defeated The Miz. And man, what a way to suffer a loss at SummerSlam than to get beat by your own finishing maneuver. And to lose to someone wrestling their first match to your own finishing maneuver. So Miz must have been really embarrassed to have lost to Logan Paul. But like I said, I am a fan of Logan Paul. He improves in each and every feud, in each and every match that he has. He is certainly a great wrestler, and I can't wait to see more of him in the WWE. All right, let's get to our next SummerSlam match that I'm going to talk about. And this SummerSlam match took place a long time ago. We go all the way back to when I was 12 or 13 years old for this SummerSlam match. And I still remember this SummerSlam match vividly in my head. It's one of my all-time favorite SummerSlam matches. Shawn Michaels is my favorite wrestler of all time. And I can remember Shawn Michaels turning heel in 2005, and I was excited because I always liked the heel Shawn Michaels. So, of course, the match we're talking about now is Shawn Michaels versus Hulk Hogan at SummerSlam 2005. This is a SummerSlam match that people remember for the wrong reasons. They remember Shawn Michaels overselling most of Hulk Hogan's offense. But there is a really good reason for that. It's because Shawn Michaels wanted to have a longer rivalry with Hulk Hogan, not just one match. He wanted a three-way program. He wanted a match at SummerSlam. He wanted another match at Survivor Series, and then he wanted a final match at WrestleMania. So he wanted SummerSlam, Survivor Series, and WrestleMania. But unfortunately, Hogan said, no, I'm just going to have a one-off match with you. And it led to Shawn Michaels no-selling the match. However, it was still a pretty good match, even though Michaels oversold. and it was a battle of the egos pretty much. Shawn Michaels and Hulk Hogan one up each other throughout the match. So let's find out how Shawn Michaels versus Hulk Hogan came to be at SummerSlam 2005. A feud between Shawn Michaels and Muhammad Hassan and Daivari began on the April 4th episode of Raw when Hassan and Daivari attacked Michaels. Michaels demanded a match against the two, but he would only be given one if he found a partner. Hogan eventually became Shawn Michaels' partner, and they defeated Hassan and Daivari at Backlash. Hogan did not appear again until the July 4th episode of Raw in Carlito's talk show segment, Carlito's Cabana. Carlito, along with Kurt Angle, made comments about Hulk Hogan's daughter Brooke and eventually attacked him. Michaels came out to help Hogan, and they defeated Carlito and Angle in the main event match later that night. And they won that match. During the post-match pose, Shawn Michaels super kicked Hogan, which knocked Hogan out and turning Shawn Michaels heel for the first time since returning to the company in 2002. The next week on Raw, Shawn Michaels challenged Hulk Hogan to a match at SummerSlam, which Hulk Hogan accepted. And this was Hulk Hogan's first SummerSlam appearance since 1991. And during Hogan's entrance, a huge American flag unrolled from the top of the stage and covered the entire set. The match started slowly until Hogan sent Michaels outside. Hogan performed a scoop slam on the announce table and sent Michaels into the ring post. Michaels reversed another attempt and sent Hogan into the ring post twice. Michaels continued to attack his head with punches and mounted punches and applied the sleeper hold. Hogan fought out of it with a belly-to-back suplex, but failed to gain the advantage as Michaels performed a flying forearm smash. Michaels then missed a diving elbow drop, and Hogan fought back briefly. Michaels performed another flying forearm smash and applied the sharpshooter. Hogan broke the hold and avoided another attempt by kicking Michaels into the referee. Michaels performed a low blow and hit Hogan with a steel chair. Michaels then successfully hit a diving elbow drop and a Sweet Chin Music super kick. Michaels attempted a pinfall, but Hulk Hogan kicked out of a 2 count. And typical Hogan, Hulk Hogan then delivered that phony big boot and leg drop to win the match. After the match, Shawn Michaels extended his hand to Hulk Hogan saying, "I needed to know and I found out," and Hogan shook his hand. Now, I know that a lot of people were upset that Shawn Michaels lost. They felt like Hulk Hogan should have put over Shawn Michaels, and this should have been a 3-way program. But instead, Hogan knows best, or so they say. Hogan's ego knows best, and Hogan decided he could not lose in the United States Capitol because he's a real American, I guess. And he did the same thing a year later, SummerSlam 2006, in what was his final WWE match. He refused to lose against Randy Orton. Randy Orton could have definitely used a victory against a legend like Hulk Hogan, but we all know that Hulk Hogan is an egotistical bastard. All right, let's get to our next SummerSlam match here. This is going to be our 6th SummerSlam match that I'm talking about, and this is the first of 2 tag team matches that I'm talking about. And it's D-Generation X taking on the McMahons, Vince and Shane McMahon. In the summer of 2006, D-Generation X reformed. So let's talk about DX versus the McMahon. All right, so let me get a picture of DX versus the McMahons on the screen there. There you see Triple H hitting a spine buster on Shane McMahon. So let's find out how DX versus the McMahons took place at SummerSlam. In December, Shawn Michaels interrupted Vince McMahon and told him that he should move on from the Montreal incident. Vince responded by saying that he could screw Michaels like he did Bret Hart anytime he wanted. This led to a feud between Shawn Michaels and the McMahons, which culminated in a no-holds-barred match at WrestleMania 22 between Shawn Michaels and Vince. Shawn Michaels destroyed Vince McMahon and won the match despite interference from the Spirit Squad and Shane. Vince claimed that Michaels' victory was a result of divine intervention and booked himself in a tag team match with Shane against Shawn Michaels and God at Backlash. The McMahons would win the match after interference from the Spirit Squad. 2 weeks later, Michaels faced the Spirit Squad in a 5-on-1 handicap match and suffered a knee injury when the Spirit Squad crushed his knee with a steel chair. Triple H, who Vince recruited, was ordered to crush Michaels' skull with a sledgehammer. When Kenny, the leader of the Spirit Squad, took the sledgehammer away from Triple H and attempted to hit Shawn Michaels with it, Triple H stepped in front of Kenny, who charged at Michaels, but Triple H hit him with a spine buster and attacked the Spirit Squad, turning face for the first time in 4 years. This led to Shawn Michaels and Triple H performing DX for the first time since their teased reunion in 2002. DX defeated the Spirit Squad at Vengeance in a 5-on-2 handicap match. They destroyed them at Saturday night's main event. And the next night on Raw, DX mocked the McMahons in one of their famous parodies. And when the McMahons and the Spirit Squad came out to confront them, they were covered with manure. 3 weeks later, Vince set up a tag team match between Vince McMahon and Shane McMahon against DX at SummerSlam. And that leads us to this match. Now, before the beginning of the match, the Spirit Squad interfered on the behalf of the McMahons, but were tossed out by DX until Finlay, William Regal, Mr. Kennedy, and the Big Show interfered. Triple H controlled the first three, while Michaels fought Big Show, who chokeslammed Triple H through a broadcast table. The match officially began as the McMahons took advantage and performed several tag team moves on DX, including the Heart Attack and the Doomsday Device. Shane McMahon tried to pin Michaels, but Michaels kicked out of the move and got up. He clotheslined Shane McMahon and tagged in Triple H. The McMahons were knocked to the floor, but Umaga interfered as the final man on behalf of the McMahons. Armando Alejandro Estrada distracted the referee while Umaga delivered the Samoan spike to Triple H. He also tried a Samoan spike on Michaels, but Kane came to prevent Umaga from attacking DX by chasing him away. Vince tried to take advantage of Umaga's attack by pinning Triple H, but Triple H kicked out of the cover. Vince attacked the referee and then put a trash can in the face of Triple H, who was lying in the corner. Shane tried a coast-to-coast on Triple H, but Shawn Michaels performed sweet chin music on Shane McMahon. Vince tried to rescue his son, but a trash can was smashed on his head by Triple H. Shawn Michaels superkicked Vince, who went straight into Triple H's pedigree for a DX pinfall victory. And I've got to admit, this is one of my favorite tag team matches in SummerSlam history. Sorry about that. I had to get something to drink. My mouth was getting dry. But anyway, DX and the McMahons, a great SummerSlam match. Let's get to our fifth SummerSlam match here of some of my favorite SummerSlam matches of all time. This next SummerSlam match is also another tag team match, also featuring D-Generation X. And it is DX versus Legacy 3 years later at SummerSlam 2009. 2009. DX and Legacy at SummerSlam 2009, and what would be Shawn Michaels' final SummerSlam match. This was Shawn Michaels' final SummerSlam appearance and final SummerSlam match. Now, this rivalry, DX and Legacy, stemmed from Triple H's previous rivalry with Randy Orton. Triple H started to target Orton's Legacy associates, Ted DiBiase Jr. and Cody Rhodes. Triple H failed to win a beat-the-clock challenge to face Orton in a match with Rhodes when DiBiase distracted him for sufficient time. After losing a handicap match against the two the following week, Triple H stated that he was going to get a partner, hinting throughout the show that he intended to reform DX with Shawn Michaels. A week later, it was revealed that Triple H had convinced Michaels, who was working as a chef at a corporate cafeteria, to quit his job and return at SummerSlam to face DiBiase and Rhodes in the tag match. And this was Shawn Michaels' first match since his sorry about that, another tech issue there. This was Shawn Michaels' first match since WrestleMania 25, where he had that classic with The Undertaker. The match started with Triple H fighting DiBiase and Rhodes. When Michaels tagged in, Rhodes left the ring to avoid Sweet Chick. After Legacy gained the advantage, Rhodes attempted a diving elbow drop, but Michaels countered the move. Michaels attempted a diving elbow drop, but Rhodes countered and executed crossroads on Michaels. Triple H broke up the pin and executed the pedigree on Rhodes, leading to DiBiase executing Dream Street on Triple H. As DiBiase and Triple H fought outside the ring, Shawn Michaels executed Sweet Chin Music on Cody Rhodes to win the match in his final SummerSlam appearance, in his final SummerSlam match of his career. Wow, I talked about my top 5 SummerSlam matches of all time. Now let's conclude the show with our final 4. All right. Now we're going to travel back to last year's SummerSlam once again, and we're going to look back at last year's SummerSlam main event. It was a last man standing match for the undisputed Universal Championship between Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns. I thoroughly enjoyed last year's SummerSlam main event between Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar. I thought they both did a great job, and it was a great match. So let's see how this match came to be. At WrestleMania 38 in April of 2022, SmackDown's Universal Champion Roman Reigns defeated Raw's WWE Champion Brock Lesnar in a winner-takes-all match to be recognized as the undisputed WWE Universal Champion. After Roman Reigns successfully retained the undisputed WWE Universal Championship on the June 17th episode of SmackDown, he claimed that there was no one left to face him. Brock Lesnar then made a surprise return after a 2-month hiatus and offered Reigns a handshake. As Reigns went to shake his hand, Lesnar attacked Reigns and then attacked the Usos, Jey Uso and Jimmy Uso, who had come to Reigns' aid. It was then announced that Reigns would defend the Reigns would defend the undisputed WWE Universal Championship against Lesnar in a last man standing match at SummerSlam, which WWE billed as their last match against each other. Lesnar drove a tractor towards the ring for his entrance. Lesnar jumped off the tractor onto Reigns and performed German suplexes on Reigns at ringside. As Heyman distracted Lesnar, Reigns took advantage and performed a Samoan drop on Lesnar through a table setup at ringside, but Lesnar stood up after 7. Reigns put Lesnar through another table, who stood up at 7. Lesnar attempted an F5 on Reigns. However, Reigns countered and threw Lesnar out of the ring. Eventually, Lesnar attempted an F5, but Reigns countered. Lesnar hit an F5 on Paul Heyman. But eventually, after some interference by the Usos, Roman Reigns successfully defeated Brock Lesnar in the main event of last year's SummerSlam. And you've got to admit, last year's SummerSlam main event between Reigns and Lesnar was a great match. It also was the conclusion of the rivalry between Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns. All right, so let's move on now. We've got 3 more matches to discuss. And 2 of these 3 matches include the greatest of all time, The Undertaker. So up next, we've got Undertaker versus JBL from SummerSlam of 2004. This was a great SummerSlam match just because of the ending of the match will always be memorable. So this match started when Undertaker challenged JBL for a match for the title at SummerSlam. Now, JBL and Undertaker started a match outside the ring. Mid-match, the referee was knocked out. Orlando Jordan passed JBL the title belt, which JBL used to hit Undertaker with. Undertaker was disqualified after the referee saw him hit JBL with the title, meaning JBL retained the WWE Championship. However, Undertaker executed a chokeslam to JBL through the roof of JBL's limousine, leading to JBL being taken out of the arena on a stretcher. That's a SummerSlam moment that I will always remember. And that is why this match is one of my all-time favorite SummerSlam matches. All right, another classic Undertaker SummerSlam match is 1 year later, Undertaker versus Randy Orton from SummerSlam 2005, the WrestleMania 21 rematch. And remember, Undertaker and Orton had a great match at WrestleMania 21 in that year's WrestleMania. Now, The Undertaker gained the advantage after a leaping, flying clothesline and attacks in the corner. Orton gained the advantage by avoiding a big boot. Orton then attacked The Undertaker's left knee. The Undertaker eventually countered an attack by sending Orton outside the ring. The Undertaker then performed a guillotine leg drop to Orton, who was on the apron. The Undertaker then performed an old school and a reverse STO. The Undertaker then performed a snake eyes, but Orton came back with a drop kick. The Undertaker avoided an RKO attempt and attempted a tombstone pile driver, which Orton countered into an inverted headlock backbreaker. Randy Orton eventually won the match when Cowboy Bob Orton attacked The Undertaker in disguise. So Orton defeated Undertaker at SummerSlam, and The Undertaker did the right thing by putting over Randy Orton. Now, here's a little tidbit about SummerSlam 2005. Muhammad Hassan was supposed to win the World Heavyweight Championship at SummerSlam 2005. But because of whatever controversy happened, I think it was a London bombing, the WWE decided to release Muhammad Hassan, and they aborted that plan. Muhammad Hassan would have beaten Batista at SummerSlam 2005, and Muhammad Hassan would have become the youngest World Heavyweight Champion in the history of SummerSlam and in the history of WWE. But luckily for Orton, Muhammad Hassan got fired because of political reasons outside of his control. All right, and that leads us to our final SummerSlam match that is one of my favorites and one that I consider to be one of the greatest SummerSlam matches of all time. And it's when John Cena got his ass whooped at SummerSlam 2014. Brock Lesnar versus John Cena. That was an incredible SummerSlam match. John Cena really got whooped in that match. He really didn't have much offense when John Cena defended his WWE Championship against Brock Lesnar. So in the first 30 seconds of the match, Brock Lesnar executed an F5 on Cena for a near fall. After that, the match was a one-sided beatdown. Lesnar executed 2 German suplexes and a vertical suplex on John Cena. Cena in turn managed only brief and ineffective offense. Lesnar executed another 4 German suplexes and then went for the cover on Cena, who kicked out at 2. Lesnar once again executed 2 more German suplexes on him. As he attempted a third, Cena struck his head with an elbow. As Lesnar attempted a second F5, Cena countered and executed an attitude adjustment for a near fall. Lesnar then proceeded to sit up, mocking the Undertaker, who he had just broken the Undertaker's streak at WrestleMania that year, and laugh. He executed 7 more German suplexes on Cena, this time not releasing him. Cena applied the STF on Lesnar, but Lesnar escaped and executed a second F5 to win the WWE Championship. Brock Lesnar destroyed, humiliated, and murdered John Cena at SummerSlam 2014. And you know what? At that time, we all needed to see that because John Cena was booked so strong from 2007 to 2014. So it was great to see John Cena get humiliated by a beast by the name of Brock Lesnar. All right, WWE fans, that's all I've got for you tonight. I hope you enjoyed this special episode of In the Ring, and I hope you enjoyed hearing about my 10 favorite SummerSlam matches as I get you ready for SummerSlam next Saturday, August 4th, coming at you straight from Ford Field in Detroit. Well, speaking of next week, and next week being SummerSlam weekend, next Saturday at 3 p.m. Eastern, 12 noon Pacific, I am going to host the SummerSlam pre-show. So next Saturday at 3 p.m. Eastern, 12 noon Pacific, right here on American Alex Cardinale YouTube channel, I'm going to host a SummerSlam 2023 pre-show. So Saturday, August 4th, join me for the SummerSlam pre-show. And then Sunday, August 5th, join me for the SummerSlam recap show at 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Pacific. So, WWE fans, be sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel, American Alex Cardinale, for pay-per-view recaps, pay-per-view previews, and more episodes like this one. Enjoy Friday Night SmackDown this Friday, and I will see you next Saturday for the SummerSlam pre-show. Good night, everybody. Hey everyone, it's your host, American Alex Cardinale, aka Legendary Alex Cardinale, aka Aqua Alex, aka Chef Alex, aka Best fucking night of my life, and wherever it takes me, I'm down for the ride, baby. Don't you know I'm good? So many personas. One person. This year, I will be turning 34. I can't wait to open a whole new chapter of my life, as I will have now been alive for 3 decades. My 20s will go down in history as being the time I created my podcast and my YouTube channel. I can't wait to see how successful my YouTube channel becomes over the next 10 years. I look forward to seeing what will happen in my 30s. Maybe I'll have a great career or my own business. You never know. Anyway, I'm inviting you, yes you, to be part of my 30th birthday. Live, Tuesday, August 15th, 2023. I'll be hosting my 30th birthday celebration on my YouTube channel, and I would love for you to be part of it. Live, Tuesday, August 15th, 2023, at 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Pacific, I'll be hosting my birthday celebration. It's going to be a fun show. There will be appearances from Aqua Alex and Chef Alex. Aqua Alex will be getting new fish for his birthday. It's a species of fish I've never kept before, and I'm excited to unbox them and show them to you. I wonder what species Chef Alex will, for the first time ever, be doing restaurant reviews, and maybe, just maybe, he will bake his favorite cake or dessert. On top of that, I'll sing my favorite song. I'll also recap my 20s, discuss what I look forward to in my 30s, and plenty more. There will be plenty of surprises, including possibly a trip to a casino or something like that. It all goes down live on my birthday, live Tuesday, August 15th, 2023, 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Pacific on my YouTube channel, American Alex Cardinale. See you then.
Over that's all, folks.